everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video will be a reading vlog for 4 hockey romances. I put up a poll on the community tab for you guys to pick 3 hockey romances for me to read that I already had on my physical TBR. So we'll look up the results right away and those will be the 3 that I'm reading, but I will be reading an additional one that I want to read that I did not include in the poll because I knew I wanted to read one for sure and I didn't want to put it in the poll. So I will be reading 4 total, 3 that you guys voted on, and then the 4th one I am picking. So I'm going to quickly go through the 5 that I had in the poll. So the first one is Daydream by Hannah Grace. This is the 3rd book in the Maple Hills series. Then we have Consider Me by Becca Mack. This is the 1st book in the Plan for Keeps series. Then we have Breakaway by Grace Riley. This I believe is the 2nd book in the Beyond the Play series. We have The Dixon Rule by Elle Kennedy. This is the 2nd book in the Campus Diaries series. And then unfortunately YouTube only allows 4 choices for a poll, which is very frustrating, but I had included in the comments another option, and if that one got enough likes then maybe I would read that one. And the final book was Beyond the Net by Stephanie Archer. This is the 1st book in the Vancouver Storm series. So those are the ones that I had in the poll, and then the one that I'm going to read that I did not include in the poll that I wanted to read anyways is If You Want Me by Helena Hunting. This is the 2nd book in the Toronto Terror series. This one I've been really wanting to read and I didn't want to put it up to chance in the poll, and I kind of did want to read 4 books in total anyways. So this will be one of the books that I'm reading. I'm gonna look at the poll results and see what 3 other books I will be reading for this video. I'll put up a picture of the results. I screenshotted it right now. So this is kind of shocking, but I will be reading the Dixon Rule. This has 48%, so this has the most votes. Then with 21% it went to Consider Me by Becca Mack, which is also kind of surprising but not really. Like, I know this series has been traditionally published now. It's in bookstores with, oh, I don't know what publishing company, but I know they have like beautiful new covers and stuff. I obviously still have one of the like indie editions. I've heard a lot of mixed things about this, so I'm surprised that this came in 2nd. And then shockingly, Daydream did not win. Daydream is last with 15%, which puts Breakaway, our next pick, at 17%. I'm so surprised Daydream did not make it in the top 3. I thought for sure that you guys would want to know my thoughts on this book. I mean, I'm probably hopefully gonna still read it this month anyways, but I will just have it in my wrap up. But I guess more people wanted to hear my thoughts on Breakaway, Consider Me, and the Dixon Rule. There were a couple of votes for Behind the Net, but I don't think it would have changed much, honestly. And I do wish that YouTube allowed like 6 choices for a poll. I feel like 4 is just not really enough. So these will be the 4 books that I'm reading for this vlog. They are all pretty big, so hopefully I can get through each of these quickly. I think I'm going to start with the Dixon Rule first. I guess quickly before we get into the reading vlog, I thought I would talk about my favorite hockey team, my love for hockey, my history with hockey, I guess. I am a Montreal Canadiens fan. I'm a Habs fan. I remember growing up and my dad and my grandpa both loved the Montreal Canadiens and they would watch their games all the time, and I even remember like listening to the French channel because for Montreal they had like a French channel that would announce the game and everything, and I have like vivid memories of that, going to my grandparents' house, like hearing my grandfather play hockey on the TV and it's all in French. So I've just grown up around watching a lot of hockey, and my brother played hockey when he was really young and my dad still plays hockey. I went through a really big phase a couple of years ago where I would watch literally every single Habs game. Like, I never missed a game. I'm not like that anymore. I feel like I faded out of that phase, but I still do watch their games occasionally, and I do kind of sort of keep up with hockey, not as much as I used to, but I still really love watching it. And For me, sometimes there's something really relaxing about watching hockey. Like sometimes the playoffs are a little stressful, but when I just have like a random hockey game on or something, I find it really relaxing. I think there's like an ASMR part of it for me. I don't know how to explain it. It's just very comforting for me to watch a hockey game. It doesn't matter what team. Like I do just genuinely love watching hockey. This is the only like hockey related clothing item that I have. I do feel like official hockey merch is so expensive, so this is the only thing I have. I do also have some earrings. I didn't feel like putting them in today, but I have little Montreal Canadiens earrings. Hockey reminds me of the wintertime and Christmas and all of that, so I love to read hockey romances around this time. And yes, I do know that hockey romances are not always realistic or like true to the experiences of hockey players and wives and girlfriends and stuff like that, but it's just fun. It's fun to read about hockey romances. It's fun to read about any sport, to be honest. I do love a lot of sports romances, but I'm excited to dive into these, and I'm gonna go ahead and start the Dixon rule. I'm currently halfway into the Dixon Rule by Al Kennedy. I'm on page 241, about to start chapter 26. I'm somewhat enjoying it. I feel like it's a very slow story, like slow burn with the romance, but also in general the story is very slow. This essentially follows Diana, who is a cheerleader, and she's also like a ballroom dancer, and she's trying to enter this competition, and she has this very annoying ex-boyfriend. And Shane moves into the same apartment building as Diana, and Shane is a hockey player. He kind of has a bad reputation for hooking up with all of Diana's teammates, and so she really does not like him. And one night there's a situation that Shane gets himself into that he kind of needs a fake girlfriend, and he runs to Diana. She ends up playing along, but it's over after that one night. However, another situation happens that Diana needs a fake boyfriend, and Shane is there. Now they're just kind of fake dating and spending a lot of time together, and it's interesting. I will say it kind of got darker a little bit towards like maybe 200-page mark, or maybe a little bit before that. There was some kind of intense stuff that happened to Diana, which I did not really see coming, so that was a little shocking. I felt like we had kind of a serious turn of events, which I'm interested to see how that's going to play out throughout this book. Obviously, this is like the second book in the series. I read the first book, The Graham Effect, I think is what it's called. Let me just double check. Yes, The Graham Effect I read earlier this year, I think sometime in the spring, and I liked it enough to pick up this book, but I wasn't like a huge fan of that one. I gave that one, I think, 3 stars. And so far, even though I'm halfway through, I feel like this is also going to be a 3-star read. I'm just like not fully attached to the characters and the romance. I just feel like this book is so long for no reason. Like there's definitely a lot of things that could be cut out, and it doesn't need to be an almost 500-page book. There's not enough stuff going on for it to be that long of a book. Like there is a lot going on, but at the same time, I just feel like it's way too long. I don't know if I enjoy this one more than the first book. I think it's kind of pretty equal, but I am gonna really try to finish this tonight so that I can start another book tomorrow. I finished the Dixon rule last night and I was too tired to vlog all my thoughts, and I thought I would sleep on it a little bit, but I'm gonna give this 3 out of 5 stars. I feel like the beginning was really fun, lighthearted. It was giving kind of rom-com vibes, and then we got to the middle of the story and then something really heavy happened and I felt like the book kind of shifted. I'll put some trigger warnings in the description if you don't want to be spoiled on trigger warnings, but I feel like there are a couple of trigger warnings that should have been disclosed at the beginning of this book. So then it kind of felt like the tone of this book kind of shifted, but then I felt like the situation that happened was kind of glossed over and kind of forgotten about, and then towards the end, I feel like everything was kind of going down. Like there was a lot happening to Diana and then there was a lot happening to Shane, and it just felt like whatever was happening towards the end should have happened in the middle of the book. I feel like it would have been nice to see Shane and Diana go through everything and see their development through that, but I felt like because everything happened so close to the end, you weren't really able to see much of them grow from whatever happened. I do appreciate how there was no third act breakup. That was lovely. With how long this book is, I felt like the progression between Diana and Shane and their relationship, it felt very realistic. It didn't feel super rushed. It felt very slow and natural. I just don't think I fully connected to Shane or Diana. Like I just didn't really necessarily love them as characters, and I didn't really love their relationship. I found all of the dance stuff very boring, as well as all of the like reality TV talk. Shane and Diana both enjoy this reality show and they talk a lot about it, and that I found very boring. I understand it's to kind of give them something in common and for them to spend more time together, but it was just kind of boring to read about that. This is the type of book that definitely could be 100 to like 150 pages shorter. Also, this book takes place in the summer, so there's not much hockey talk. There is a little bit towards the end. They get back into the school semester and get back into hockey and stuff, but a majority of the book takes place in the summer. I definitely cried towards the end when everything was happening for Shane and his family. That was definitely emotional. I feel like without the emotional aspects of this book definitely would have been a 2-star read for me. The heavier topics added more depth to the story, but I also feel like they weren't fully developed enough to say that this was a deep and impactful book, if that makes sense. And I mean, I know it's not trying to be, but when you're putting in those heavy topics, I feel like you're expecting the book to make an impact, and I just don't think it did for me. I don't know if any of that is making sense, but it's really hard to explain the heavy topics in this book without spoiling you. Again, if you need the trigger warnings, I'm gonna put them in the description box. But yeah, in my opinion, it wasn't anything special or unique. It was a 3-star. It was kind of basic. It had some funny moments. It had some emotional moments, but overall, I don't think this is a book that I will reread, and I don't think I'm going to read the next book in the series because the first 2 books I've only given 3 stars, so I'm not going to waste my time with the 3rd book. I'm now going to go ahead and get started on reading Breakaway by Grace Riley. I'm currently halfway through Breakaway. I am on page 207, chapter 34. I am liking this book, but it's definitely different than what I expected it to be for some reason. The blurb is kind of exactly like what the book is about. A secret friends with benefits arrangement with the hockey coach's daughter shouldn't have a shot in the dark of leading to more. Cooper and Penny decide to have this friends with benefits situation, and Penny is kind of dealing with something that I'm assuming is very traumatic and something that happened regarding intimacy with an ex, I guess. Because she's kind of alluding to this like situation that has made her create this list of sexual things that she wants to cross off. She's just been kind of too scared to do it with anybody. And so when she bumps into Cooper and she's like instantly attracted to him, they hook up and she kind of convinces him to have this friends with benefits thing and to help her cross off all these things off her list. And it's a lot more smutty than I thought it was going to be. There have been like a lot more sex scenes than I thought there were going to be. Like this whole first half of this book is pretty much sex scenes, which is crazy. But I also feel like even though that's happening, there's still a decent amount of like development between them in a relationship sense, where they seem like very comfortable with each other. They joke a lot. They really are building this friendship, and you can really see the trust that they have with each other build. And I can tell it's going to be a very beautiful relationship later on. I am scared that there's going to be like a third act breakup or like drama with Penny's father, because she's obviously the daughter of Cooper's hockey coach. So there is a bit of like forbiddenness to that, which is interesting, and I'm liking that aspect. I'm at the part right now where they just found a little kitten, and they are basically adopting this cat and gonna be parents to this little kitten that they found. I feel like I don't read many new adult romances anymore, especially ones that take place at college. I feel like I just haven't read a lot of them lately, and this book is reminding me why I used to love reading new adult books so much back in the day, especially like taking place at college and at university, and our characters slowly growing and like getting to know themselves and stuff like that, and just having, you know, big friend groups and partying and doing all that kind of stuff. I love reading that in books. I just think it's really fun. I feel like I haven't read some good new adult books in a while, so I'm really enjoying this one. So I finished Breakaway a couple nights ago. I've been a little busy, so I haven't had the time to give all my thoughts and start reading the next book, but I am today. I think I'm gonna give this 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very cute and sweet new adult sports romance. I really liked Cooper and Penny. I just thought they were adorable, and I loved their shared love for reading and for books. They would give each other books to read, which I just thought was so sweet. I feel like my only complaint about this book is that it is so smutty. Like, it is sex scene after sex scene after sex scene, and it just felt a little too much in my opinion. I understand that they were trying to kind of complete Penny's list, but I feel like the odd time it could have just been insinuated that they had sex instead of like constantly describing it every single chapter. That could just be me thing. Like, I was just kind of getting tired of the constant sex scenes. But I will say, even though this was really smutty, I still felt like Penny and Cooper really got to know each other on like a deeper level, and they truly became friends. And they got to know each other, got into each other's interest. They adopted a cute little cat, and I just really loved how their relationship slowly developed. Also, we're 2 for 2 on no third act breakups. I thought we were gonna go in the direction that there was gonna be a third act breakup, but that didn't happen, which I really appreciate. I love how there was conflict at the end, but it wasn't relationship wise, which I really enjoyed. And I appreciate when authors can do something different than constantly going to the third act breakup. I think it's refreshing. It adds something different to the story, and I really appreciated that the author did that for this book. I also enjoyed the side characters. I kind of do want to read the other books in the series. I don't think I'm going to read the first book. I'm not really interested in, oh my god, what is his brother's name? I want to say it's James, but I could be wrong. I'm not really interested in his story, but I'm kind of interested in the other siblings. So I might read the other books in the series when I'm in the mood for like a sports romance, because I think there is one that's like a hockey. I think another one is a hockey romance, and then baseball maybe, or something like that. I honestly don't think I have much else to say about this. I just really enjoyed it, and I thought it was fun and entertaining, and it was a good new adult romance. I think I'm now gonna go start If You Want Me by Helena Hunting. I'm really excited to read this. I hope it lives up to my excitement. All I really know about this is like it's an age gap romance, and the heroine falls in love with her dad's best friend, who is also a hockey player. I am currently basically halfway. I am on page 223. I was kind of having a lazy day today. It was taking me so long to get through this book, not because it's bad, but I just feel like my focus was kind of all over the place, and then I had a situation with my cat, and that stressed me out for a couple of hours, but everything's good now. So I am happy I made it halfway through this. I obviously wanted to finish this tonight, but it's not gonna happen. I'm just gonna finish it tomorrow morning, and then I will start Consider Me hopefully tomorrow as well. But I'm liking this. It has been kind of slow. I will say the first half has just kind of been Aurora or Hammer. I honestly hate that she has like 3 different names, but it's essentially just been about Hammer and Hollis kind of running around each other, like not sure if they are into each other or not. Like it's just been kind of this back and forth on them fighting their attraction, and I feel like we're finally getting into the point where more is going to start happening, which I'm excited about. I guess I didn't really explain what this book is about, but essentially Hammer is the Toronto Terror's unofficial team princess. Her dad has been on the team, the hockey team, for years. He is the goalie. Her dad has always been very super protective of her, not wanting her to date other hockey players, etc, etc. But she has always had a crush on Hollis, who is her dad's teammate and best friend, and Hollis has started to notice Hammer in a whole new light, and he is slowly falling in love with her, like being super attracted to her and seeing this whole adult side to her. And it's just basically them like fighting their attraction to each other and hiding it from her dad. Not that it's similar to the first book in this series, because the first book is like enemies to lovers, like hate to love, and that one I feel like was pretty smutty, but it's still giving kind of the same forbidden aspect. Because in the first book, If You Hate Me, Rix falls in love with Tristan, who is her brother's best friend and teammate. So it's kind of giving the same vibes in that way, but the rest of the similarities kind of end there. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm excited to see how their relationship progresses, and I'm excited to see when everybody finds out about their relationship and all of that jazz. I'm sure it's going to be dramatic and entertaining, so I'm excited to keep reading. But I think I'm going to stop reading for tonight and just finish this tomorrow. I finished If You Want Me yesterday, but my family came over and then it was kind of late when they left, so I didn't feel like updating the vlog, but I did finish this yesterday and I think I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 stars. Overall, I liked this book, but I felt like it had the same formula as the first book in the series where, you know, the characters get together, it's a secret relationship, and then it kind of blows up in their face, and then they end up breaking up, and then they get back together at the end. That was exactly what happened in the first book. So it just felt very repetitive, even though it was with new characters and like new tropes. It just kind of felt like the same thing. It felt very predictable, and you knew that there was going to be a third act breakup coming. Like, you could just see it, you could see the fallout. I'm not saying that romance novels need to be revolutionary and like do something new and whatever, but I do wish that it didn't feel exactly like the same book, you know? At times I felt like Aurora was very immature, like you could see her age. There was just a couple of situations where I felt like she acted her age and overreacted about a situation. I understand she was like in love with Hollis, so I get that her reactions were because she felt so deeply about him. And also she has like 3 names, which I think I mentioned earlier, but I'm gonna refer to her as Aurora now because I guess that's what she prefers to go by. I didn't necessarily like fully feel the chemistry between Hollis and Aurora. I did feel like it was kind of lacking at some points for me. I just didn't fully feel their relationship or their connection. But in general, I liked this book. I like how you got to see Aurora and Hollis fall in love, or like just be more in love and like really get to know each other and stuff. But I don't know, it just wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. I was really hoping that this would be one of my new favorite Helena Hunting books, but sadly I just didn't love it. I am kind of curious to continue the series, but I feel like the rest of the series is still going to be 3-star reads for me, which sucks because I think the first book I gave 3 or 3.5 out of 5 stars. This one is a 3. I think the next book is about Hemi and Dallas, I think. I really want to see who Tally falls in love with, so I might check out her book at some point. I will say some of the nicknames for some of the characters can get quite confusing. Like, everybody has really long names and then they go by like not the obvious nickname, so then it just kind of gets mixed up a little bit. But yeah, I am curious about some of the other books in the series, so I might wait to read those, still give them a try maybe. Now I'm gonna go start Consider Me by Becca Mack. I am actually really nervous to start this. First of all, it's also massive. I don't know why all of these hockey romances are like 400 pages, but the font is like tiny. It is so small. I've heard people either love this or they DNF it, so we'll see how I feel about it. I'm currently on page 152 of Consider Me. I really tried to make it to the halfway point, which would be like page 224 and a half or something like that, but I am not liking this. So I think I may have to DNF it. The first few chapters, I was like, okay, this is kind of fun. This is interesting. Like, I'm on board. And then as things kind of progressed, I was like, I don't really like Carter. Essentially, this follows Carter Beckett, who is a hockey player, and he's like the captain of the Vancouver, I don't remember what the team is called. And he is a playboy. He hooks up with multiple women all the time. He has a very bad reputation, and he ends up meeting his teammate's girlfriend's best friend, and he is immediately smitten. Olivia is really not into Carter. She immediately turns him down. It's basically just about him kind of wearing her down to like agree to try to have something, like some sort of relationship. I don't know, it just felt like there was so much back and forth that I'm like, I am kind of bored with this book. Like, I don't really know the direction that it's gonna go because it's already kind of been in a weird direction and we're only 150 pages in. I really thought it was gonna be a longer, more angsty read. Like, I really thought that they would take the time to get to know each other before stuff happened. But like, I mean, I don't really want to spoil anything, but like, they already hooked up and then it just kind of blew up in both of their faces, and now it's like Carter is still trying to like win her over, and I just don't really like Carter. Olivia's fine, like I don't hate her, but I am finding that I just can't really stand Carter. Obviously he's a player, but he's also giving kind of like baby vibes. Like, he's acting a little immature and like he's not getting his way, so he's upset, and he was gonna retaliate over like a misunderstanding. And I don't know, I'm just really not liking Carter, and I don't really know how I'm supposed to like root for them when I don't really care. I think it would be different if the story was a little bit more slow burn and like had more of an angst vibe to it, and I guess maybe the angst will kind of come in now, but I wanted the angst from like the beginning, you know? Like I said, I was gonna try to get to the halfway mark, but I already felt like I was skimming things, so I was like, this is not a good idea. I'm just gonna stop right here, and I think I'm going to DNF it. I think it's gonna be a soft DNF. It's not like, I just don't think it's gonna work out for me right now. I honestly feel like I'm more interested in reading like about the other teammates. I think, who is it? I think there's an Adam and Garrett. I think I'm kind of interested in their stories more, and I have noticed, because I looked on Goodreads to see like who the next books are about, just because I wanted to get a feel of like the characters and like romances later on, and the other books in the series have a higher rating than this one, so I think maybe, if anything, I'm going to read the other books in the series instead. Let me know if you've read this entire series and which one is your favorite and which one I should read. I think also in general, like, I'm not a huge fan of playboys in books. Like, I just don't really find the whole, oh, he's a player but he changes for his one true love. Like, I don't necessarily love that trope or plot line. I just find it kind of annoying, and I don't know, most of the times I feel like the male characters act very immature, and obviously they only have one thing on their mind. I really wanted to push through and like read this for the video and like actually give a proper review, but I just have a feeling I'm gonna end up skimming the rest of this book because I just don't care enough to finish it. I don't know if it's the book I'm having issues with or if I'm just like not in the mood for this anymore, if I'm kind of over my hockey romance little phase right now. So sadly, I'm gonna put this down for now, but let me know if any of the other books in this series are better. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. So I guess I'm gonna rank all 3.5 books that I read. So I think my favorite was Breakaway by Grace Riley. And then I think my second favorite is probably If You Want Me by Helena Hunting. And then coming in at number 3 would be The Dixon Rule by Al Kennedy. And then finally we would have Consider Me by Becca Mack. Obviously out of these 4, I recommend Breakaway the most. I just really enjoyed it and I thought it was a very cute but very smutty new adult hockey romance. It just felt very refreshing, but it obviously had a lot of the same qualities as some other college new adult romances. I think I plan on also reading Wicked Serve. I think that's the one I'm most interested in this series as well, so I might check out that one. But let me know if you've read any other books in this series and which one you love the most. I would still recommend If You Want Me by Helena Hunting, especially if you love age gap romances or Dad's Best Friend. I think it had a lot of good qualities. I just didn't fully connect to the characters or the romance, but I did think it was entertaining, and I really love the whole friend group in this series, and it does make me want to keep reading all the other books in the series. I know the 3rd book just came out, I think a couple of days ago or like a week ago, something like that, so I might go ahead and dive into that one, but I definitely want to read Tally's book. If you love Elle Kennedy and you love her type of stories and romances, you will enjoy this. I just think I'm kind of over Elle Kennedy. I know I've said that before in the past, but then I ended up picking up The Graham Effect and then this one, but I think I'm officially done with Elle Kennedy. I just feel like her books kind of go the same way all the time, and I feel like, in my opinion, she's never going to beat the off-campus characters for me, so I am kind of just over reading her stories. But if you love Elle Kennedy and you've loved a majority of her books and you haven't gotten around to this one, you'll probably still enjoy this one. It just wasn't for me. And then I obviously DNF'd Consider Me at page 152. I just really wasn't into the male character. I wasn't really into the way the story was kind of going. I didn't really enjoy the direction of the story. I felt like the author could have really built up more of the angst in the beginning. I feel like maybe a bonus to this book is that it is maybe going to go in a different direction than I had thought it would go. Like maybe it is going to be original and different and go in a different direction than all the other hockey romances that I've read, but I don't care enough to continue reading. I just didn't love the male character, and I haven't really been enjoying the overall setup of this book. I am curious about the other books in this series, so let me know if you've read this series and which one you think I should maybe try again, because I could see the potential in the friend group, especially the other 2 male characters that I talked about, Adam and Garrett, I think. But who knows, maybe I will give this another try in the future. I don't know. It's kind of a softie enough for now. So those are all the hockey romances that I read. Let me know if you've read these books and what you think about them, or if you have any other hockey romance recommendations, please leave them down below. Let me know if there's another trope or subgenre that you want me to do a video on. I think I want to do maybe a fantasy video next. I'm not really sure. But if there is any other videos that you want to see from me next, please leave them down below. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, follow me on all my other social media, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!